Billy Carter, Jimmy's brother, a Southern icon or a political liability? Was he a beer-swilling buffoon, or a shrewd businessman exploited by the media? From the enigma of Billygate and his Libyan connection, to being a man caught between family loyalty and national scandal. Today on Celebrity Afterlife we remember the life of Billy Carter and help to keep his memory alive. Born in Plains, Georgia, on March 29, 1937, William Alton Billy Carter was the baby of the Carter family, the youngest of Lillian and James Earl Carter Sr.'s 4 children. His life journey took him from Emory University to the United States Marine Corps, and eventually back home to the family's peanut business. Billy Carter's relationship with his older brother Jimmy was a complex mix of affection and a touch of envy. Hugh Carter, a cousin, suggested in his 1978 account of life within the Carter family that Billy's rebellious streak stemmed from a little bitterness, a desire to forge a path distinctly different from his family's. Everyone was working so hard at being an overachiever that it made Billy want to show he was the opposite, he said. Adding to the complexity of Billy Carter's family dynamics, his sister Ruth revealed in her 1978 biography, Brother Billy, that he also felt a deep resentment towards Jimmy for taking over the family business after their father's death in 1953. Billy, just 16 at the time, felt slighted by Jimmy's decision to leave the Navy and assume leadership of the family's enterprise. The roots of Billy Carter's resentment ran deep, fueled by his father's early pronouncements. Their father, who fondly called Billy Buckshot and showered him with affection, had instilled in him a sense of future leadership. "Someday you'll be in charge of things when you grow up," he'd said, contrasting Billy's connection to the land with Jimmy's naval aspirations. "Jimmy has chosen the Navy, and you've chosen the land." His sister Ruth added, "Instead of Daddy, there was Jimmy, all friendly and brotherly, all business." Billy tried to stay away from the warehouse, but he felt lost without it. He wanted to run it. When Jimmy Carter's presidency began in 1976, Billy Carter found himself thrust into the national spotlight, a position he eagerly embraced. However, the media's portrayal of him was far from flattering, painting him as a mix of folksy philosopher and bumbling clown. His most often quoted remark of the campaign, "I've got a mother who joined the Peace Corps and went to India when she was 68. I've got a sister who races motorcycles and another sister who's a holy roller preacher. I've got a brother who says he wants to be president of the United States. I'm the only sane one in the family." In 1970, Billy Carter stepped up, taking over as managing partner of the family's peanut business after Jimmy's election as Georgia's governor. By 1976, Billy had transformed the business into a thriving $5 million a year enterprise. "I made more money for the business than Jimmy ever did." Carter, who owned 15% of the operation, was fond of boasting. In 1972, Billy Carter made a savvy move, buying a gas and service station from Mill Jennings in Plains. This unassuming station transformed into a national landmark in 1976. As journalists flocked to Plains to cover Jimmy Carter's presidential campaign, Billy's station became their unofficial headquarters. For most of the decade, he ran the business, achieving remarkable sales figures: 2,000 cases of beer, and over 40,000 gallons of gas per month at its peak. Billy Carter's days were a study in contrasts. He'd start before dawn, unlocking the Carter Peanut Warehouse at 6 o'clock every morning and putting in long hours. But when the workday ended, he'd trade peanuts for pints, heading to his Amoco service station. There, in the back room, he'd swap stories and chug beer with his drinking buddies. "I'm a real Southern boy," he used to say. "I got a redneck, White Sox and Blue Ribbon beer. In 2009, the station became the Billy Carter Service Station Museum via the University of Georgia. Billy Carter's political ambitions didn't quite pan out. In 1976, he threw his hat in the ring for Plains' mayoral race, but was defeated by Al Blanton, an air traffic controller from Albany Airport, with a vote count of 97 to 71. Adding to his unique public image, Billy Carter also served as the official spokesperson for Peanut Lolita liquor in the 1970s. Despite his preference for Pabst Blue Ribbon, Billy Carter lent his name to Billy Beer in 1977, a move by Falls City Brewing Company to capitalize on his good old boy image. His notoriety extended to pop culture, with his name often used as a humorous answer on 1970s episodes of Match Game, representing a Washington, D.C. troublemaker. His public antics were legendary, including an infamous incident where he urinated on an airport runway in front of reporters and officials. By 1979, Billy Carter's alcohol consumption had escalated dramatically, reaching half a gallon of vodka and whiskey daily. In February of that year, he sought help, entering a 7-week rehabilitation program at the Long Beach, California Navy Hospital's alcohol treatment facility. He successfully achieved sobriety and, in a testament to his recovery, reportedly dedicated himself to supporting others on their own journeys to sobriety. Financial troubles forced Billy Carter to sell his Plains properties to his son-in-law in 1981, leading him to Haleyville, Alabama, where he worked in sales for Tidwell Industries. In 1985, as vice president of Scott Housing Systems, Inc., he entered a guilty plea on behalf of the company for padding invoices, resulting in a $10,000 fine and restitution to the Veterans Administration. Between 1981 and 1985, Billy Carter navigated the housing industry, working for various manufacturers before venturing into mobile home sales independently. In 1986, he returned to Georgia, taking on the role of sales manager for a major mobile home company. He settled back in Plains, purchasing a substantial brick ranch house near his brother Jimmy's residence. Billy Carter's relationship with Libya became a source of significant controversy. In late 1978 and early 1979, he made 3 trips to the country with a Georgia delegation. He subsequently registered as a foreign agent of the Libyan government, receiving a $220,000 loan. While the New York Times reported that only $1,000 was repaid, Edwin P. Wilson claimed to have seen a telegram indicating a much larger payment of $2 million from Libya to Billy Carter. Billy Carter's Libyan connections ignited a firestorm of controversy, culminating in a Senate hearing dubbed Billygate by the press. The Senate subcommittee was convened to investigate allegations of influence, peddling by individuals representing foreign governments, with Billy Carter's dealings at the center of the inquiry. I am deeply concerned that Billy has received funds from Libya, and that he may be under obligation to Libya. These facts will govern my relationship with Billy, as long as I am president. Billy has had no influence on U.S. policy or actions concerning Libya in the past, and he will have no influence in the future. Jimmy Carter, August 4, 1980. Billy Carter's actions caused significant embarrassment for his brother, President Jimmy Carter. Despite the political fallout, the president remained loyal, refusing to publicly distance himself from his younger sibling. Jimmy Carter spoke fondly of Billy's humor and work ethic, while acknowledging the negative consequences of his Libyan connections. The news media kind of turned on Billy, Carter recalled. He had been their darling and he became kind of a pariah. The Billygate scandal reached its peak during a particularly sensitive time, the Iran hostage crisis and President Carter's challenging re-election campaign. I spent a lot of my time, defending Billy to the press instead of explaining my foreign policy and domestic policies to the news media. A 1985 Wall Street Journal article raised questions about the timing and intent of Billygate articles published in the New Republic by Michael Ledeen in October 1980. The article suggested that these publications were strategically timed to influence the outcome of the presidential election that year. The Billygate saga took on international intrigue with allegations that Francesco Pizzinza, an officer of the Italian intelligence agency SISMI, provided Michael Ledeen with incriminating information. Reports suggested that Ledeen, along with Arnaud de Borchgrave, co-authored articles in the New Republic based on this intelligence. Pizzinza was later tried and convicted in absentia for extortion and fraud, related to obtaining damaging information about Billy Carter. After the presidential election, Billy Carter watched his hometown of Plains transform into a spectacle, overrun by reporters, tourists, and souvenir hunters. Disturbed by the changes, he lamented that Plains was going straight to hell. Seeking respite, he relocated his family to a secluded home in Buena Vista, roughly 20 miles away. Around the same time, Billy Carter's frustration grew over the handling of the family's peanut warehouse. When Jimmy Carter entered the White House, the business was placed in a blind trust managed by Charles Curbo, an Atlanta attorney. Billy sought to buy his brother's 60% share, but Curbo, reportedly with Jimmy's approval, declined the offer, adding to Billy's sense of being sidelined. Frustrated with the family business, Billy Carter made a dramatic shift, resigning abruptly to capitalize on his newfound celebrity. He embarked on a lucrative speaking tour, earning a reported $500,000 in his first year, with each appearance netting him $5,000. Billy Carter's promotional campaign for Billy Beer was nothing short of memorable. He was famously photographed wearing a dunce cap and a vest crafted from Billy Beer pop-tops, a visual that perfectly encapsulated his public persona. Eventually, Billy Carter grew weary of the redneck caricature he'd helped create. "I think I may have created a monster with my, I won't say act, but with my redneck pose," he confessed in a television interview, acknowledging the discomfort of his public image. Billy Carter's life became increasingly turbulent, marked by notoriety and the personal struggles stemming from his excessive drinking. The situation reached a point where his brother, President Jimmy Carter, felt compelled to publicly state, "I hope the people of the United States will realize that I have no control over Billy." The toll of Billy Carter's public persona and struggles was deeply felt by his family. In a 1987 book by Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, Billy's wife, Sybil, described that period as hell, literally hell, and admitted, "A lot of times I wished he were dead." After Jimmy Carter's presidency ended and Billy's notoriety subsided, he retreated to a quieter, less flamboyant life. Billy Carter's legacy extends through his 6 children: Kim, Janakay, William Alton, Buddy, Marley, Mandy, and Earl, all of whom continue to reside in Plains, Georgia, with his wife Sybil. They offer a counter-narrative to the prevailing media portrayal of their father. Daughter Jenna passionately contests the image created by the press, stating, "The press made Daddy look stupid. He was not stupid. I couldn't stand that." Billy Carter's widow, Sybil, further clarified his public persona, stating that he was trying to be what the press had tried to turn him out to be, a redneck brother, and he would play to that. She revealed that he would tell outlandish stories just to see what the press would do, indicating a deliberate performance. The family also openly discussed his very public battle with alcoholism, and how his eventual recovery continues to shape his legacy. Buddy Carter, Billy's son, emphasized his father's commitment to helping others overcome alcoholism. If he were alive today, I think that would be the first thing he would bring up, about the good he's done in his life. You know, helping other people through alcoholism. In the fall of 1987, Billy Carter received a devastating diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, undergoing treatments that ultimately proved unsuccessful. He passed away in Plains the following year at the age of 51, 5 years after his sister, Ruth Carter Stapleton, also succumbed to pancreatic cancer at the age of 54. He died quietly and peacefully in his sleep about 7 o'clock this morning, with his family at his bedside, the family said in a statement from the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta. He had struggled courageously with his illness, never losing his sense of humor and always concerned more about those who loved him than himself. Billy was laid to rest at Lebanon Cemetery in Plains, Georgia. The Carter family faced a series of tragic losses to pancreatic cancer. A year and a half after Billy's death, his older sister, Gloria Carter Spann, died at age 63 from the same disease. Their father, James Earl Carter Sr., also succumbed to pancreatic cancer at age 58. Their mother, Bessie Lillian Gordy, died of breast cancer at age 85. Following Billy's death, his widow, Sybil, opened a cafe. Thanks so much for tuning into today's video. I post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to catch every episode where we dive into the Celebrity Afterlife.